Booty bump, good luck.
Let's do it. Woo. Very nice.
Very nice. All right. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Mocha's here to join. Yeah, welcome back.
Mocha was already sitting, waiting for us.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mocha, today you gotta be good.
Oh my God, she was so
all
bad.
over us.
Oh
Did
my
you see
God.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, she
all
was
over
really
us.
bad.
So today we're gonna kick her ass out if she does anything.
Mm-hmm. I think she just got excited because Ryan was new.
True.
She was like, "Who is this new person
That
here?"
could be it. All right.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my baby. Let's begin.
Let's go.
All right. What's going on, guys? I'm J.R. Munoz, and this is...
Marissa.
And this is Ask the Two of Us, episode 11.
I didn't know how to say that. 11.
Yeah. Woo! 11. Today, once again, we are joined by a special guest.
Mm-hmm.
His name, he goes by the name of HiPablo. Would you like to come in, sir?
The world's reopened now.
It is. I'm a little afraid.
Today was the first time I went to the gym, and a lot of people had no mask.
Wow. I
Yeah.
went into Starbucks just right now, and it said masks are optional if you're vaccinated, which I am, but I was still too scared to take it off. There was only one other lady in there that didn't have it on, and I didn't want to look like a Karen, so I kept it on.
Yeah, well, you just told us two people she knows.
Yeah.
Got.
Not I know, my sister knows.
The other people that you know got COVID again after being vaccinated.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little scary.
That's
Yeah.
really
A
scary.
little scary.
Scary.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I'm a huge fan of just watching you guys interact. Like, honestly, all the time. Just like,
Aw.
sometimes I'll even forget that I'm like, oh, I'm in the room. I should say something. Because I'm like, it's just like the way that you guys just bounce things off each other. And then just like, it's basically like the same language. You guys are speaking
We
the same
totally
language.
do. Thank you.
Yeah.
Aw.
I really enjoy watching it.
I really, honest with my heart, believe that we're like either a twin flame or a soulmate. That we somehow have the same soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
like that.
nuts. I like it. To let you guys know how it works around here, and actually to let you know, you guys either hit us up through emails or through Instagram. You guys send us topics, questions, anything you might be going through in your life or anything that someone else might be going through. And you guys ask for advice. We read it out. We give our perspective. You can keep yourself anonymous. The email, for those of you guys that are just listening, it's askthetwoofus@gmail.com.
In the old days, there was like a newspaper thing. Did you guys ever remember this?
You know what?
Yeah.
It's
Like
funny.
Ask.
It
What
was
was it?
called. It was called. Oh my God! I said it on my interview yesterday. I went into an interview and I was talking about this podcast yesterday, and it was called Ask Abby.
Yes.
Oh,
yes. Ask Abby. Yeah.
It was like a newspaper column.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you would hit them with some anonymous things, and then she'd answer to the best of her ability. And Abby was like this. You never knew who it was. It was just kind of like some editor or whatever. And you guys are Ask Abby now.
Ooh,
We
whoa,
are.
that's actually cool to like find old Ask Abby things and like
Yeah.
just read it, like read the question.
Yeah.
I think it's
read the
Ask
answer.
Abby. What if it's not Ask
I think
Abby?
it. No, I think it's
Well,
100% Ask Abby.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll look it up and I'll put it like ding if we were right or wrong.
I love
Yeah,
it.
right?
I love that in editing. You could just be like, "Look at this idiot! Look how dumb I am."
Yeah.
I always do that. I was like, "I got this wrong."
Yep.
Exactly.
All right, so let's get started. Boom, lady, what is the drink of the day today?
The
what are we
drink
drinking?
of the day is I got a. What the heck did I get?
That sounds interesting.
I
I've
honestly,
never heard that
Interesting.
it
drink.
was some sort of cold brew,
Okay.
vanilla cold brew, I think,
Vanilla
something
cold
really
brew.
basic.
Ooh,
yeah.
nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still good. I got we both
Yeah.
Pablo and I got the chocolate almond espresso.
The shaken
espresso.
espresso with almond milk. It's 150 calories for a venti, which is really good.
Wow.
At least that's what the app said. Maybe 250.
Damn, I
Hey,
should
if
have
I'm
looked
wrong,
at that.
if I'm wrong, look at it. Ping it.
We'll ping
Yeah.
either
Yeah,
a
like,
theme,
this
he was
idiot.
right, or boom, he was wrong.
It's like 500 calories. The calories aren't like the scary part, though. It's the sugar that's the scary part.
Yeah.
I usually try to get sugar free,
Yeah.
but not with these cold brews.
This one doesn't taste that sweet, so I'm guessing
this
like
one's a
I'm pretty
little-
good.
Okay.
It's a little bit on the more coffee side.
All right. Shall we begin?
We shall.
First, pregunta.
Me and my boyfriend have been living together for 1 year, but together for 7 years. He makes more money than me, and he always wants to buy new things. He got himself an Indian motorcycle. I agreed to this because I knew that it has always been a dream of his, and I want him to live his life. Then a few months passed, and he asked if he can buy a mountain bike that costs $700. I said no, that we need to save our money for emergencies, but he gets upset with me when I say that. He ended up buying the bike, and a week later he comes to me asking if he could buy another bike for $1,600. We always end up buying whatever toy he wants, and although he does ask me before buying things, it still makes me upset because in a sense I know it's his money, but I feel like we are in a never-ending cycle. When I bring up marriage, he tells me once he finishes paying off his debt, we will get married. But he continues to add to his debt. I love him with my whole heart, but I feel as if I'm not his priority. Am I being selfish? What do you guys suggest?
Wow, that's interesting.
Interesting.
We always let our guests go first.
Okay.
So, Pablo, you can take this one.
Well, immediately, psychologically, I want to find out, like, you have to find out the true motive of him buying all these things. Is he stuck in a addiction of like retail therapy where he's like patching up any sort of insecurities or any sort of thing with items? Or is he just kind of like, because is he being reckless? If he's making enough money where it's all right, then it's not reckless. But if you're saying like he has this debt that he hasn't paid off or he's just postponing, I mean, there could be something deeper. It could be that anytime marriage is brought up, he starts to freak out and then makes a purchase to like subconsciously get deeper into debt. So you push that further and further.
Wow.
Or, you know, like he could just love bikes. So I think you really have to figure out the answer to that. And I don't know. Money's always something that is so dicey for couples.
Right.
If you guys don't speak the same financial language or he's not willing to learn, then I think you have to assess whether you're a match completely. Like, is it just the money? If you could take out the money from the equation, is it there? Like, because to give somebody a sort of timeline of when I get out of debt or when I do X, that's when we can be married or whatever. Usually it's to like just keep hitting the snooze button.
Right.
And I feel like you should be with somebody who's like excited to marry you. Like if he's saying he does want to marry you, if the conversation's happening consistently of we want to be married, we want to live with each other, then you know, stick with it. Maybe it's just financial literacy that he needs, or just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I think that I agree with you in a sense that like marriage, I do fully agree with you actually that money in relationships is something that should be always talked about, especially early. I feel like when you establish that, I mean, not that it's early in their sense, but you should always early in a relationship establish like what your money habits are and really pay attention to what your partner's money habits are. I don't think that it's right for her to tell her boyfriend how to spend his money. I don't feel like that is appropriate, and I know that they've been together for 7 years and they talk about getting married, but I don't think that he should be coming to her and asking permission to spend his own money if he's not going to marry her. I feel like she's taking on wifey duties without a wifey title.
I agree.
And I think that she should look at that and maybe say to him in a different sense of like, hey, this worries me because you already say that you're in debt, and I don't want to take on your debt when we get married. But I'm also not going to tell you not to do something, but I want you to know that it upsets me that you are prolonging getting married to me, and especially because they've already been together for 7 years. I feel like 5 for me is like, if you're not marrying me by year 5, then we need to reevaluate some shit, you know?
George. I know.
We got a long time to go, baby. It's okay. But yeah, I don't think that a girlfriend should be telling, or I don't feel like a man should be asking his girlfriend when he can spend his money. He's a big boy, you know? He knows what he's got to do. He knows that he's going to put himself into more debt. So that's then her responsibility to look at it and say, hey, do I want to progress with somebody who doesn't value their money and doesn't appreciate the value of a dollar as much as I do? Or do I want to continue to try to teach him when he's obviously not learning? So
Yeah. I mean, if it's the, sorry to jump back in here, but if it's the deal breaker, you can learn how to handle money. That's always like a skill you can learn.
Right.
One thing you can't learn is patterns and behavior.
Right.
Or it's very difficult to undo those. So if you see a pattern of like getting constantly in debt or like doing something like that, it might be a little more difficult.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so he makes more money and he spends money, but I wonder. She didn't say. I wonder if this has always been him. Has he always been a big spender, and like he's just, you know, he likes bikes, or it could be a possibility too. Is he prolonging the whole, like, subconsciously, or maybe even on purpose? Like, once I'm out of debt, but maybe he doesn't fully want to commit yet, so he's like, I'm still in debt.
Yeah,
that could be a thing. Or it could be, you know, the therapy thing. He's like just buying, like, oh man, he feels down for some reason, he's buying. I feel like this is a communication from her. Talk to him, because I agree, like, it's up to you. Like, if he is this type of person, maybe then you should have seen it, I hope. And you should think into the future, like, hey, this man likes to spend a lot, and if he likes something, he's probably going to get it. Are you cool with that once you do get married?
Right.
That's like, hey, as a husband, like, hey, if he wants it, he's probably going to get it. Even though it's a shared debt now.
And if he works hard, he deserves to buy his own bike.
Yeah.
Because I think, Pablo had brought up, like, is he being reckless, or is he making enough where he could spend like this, where he's like, he's still fine? There was still a lot of questions I would have for you to completely get the answer, or give you a better answer.
Right. I feel like if it's like school debt or like car loan debt, like that's not necessarily bad debt.
Yeah.
I feel like if I don't know, there needs to be a conversation between the two of you guys as to like, hey, and you need to be very honest about the fact that you're potentially upset that the whole marriage thing isn't happening because of the debt, and that you don't like to see his spending habits. But I think it's just an open communication error that you guys may have. Right now, to me, from this small email that we saw, it seems like a minor problem. Yeah. Not something that's huge in my eyes.
Unless he's being reckless.
Unless he's being reckless, right? But I don't think that buying a bike is reckless. I think if I wanted to go purchase a bike tomorrow and I make enough money to purchase a bike tomorrow, I'm gonna go purchase the bike tomorrow.
Well, it's because he bought like 3 bikes back to back to back.
Okay.
Also, something like a bike still retains value. You can always sell that. So that kind of debt, it's easy to get out of, because you can just, you know, it's an asset or whatever. But another thing that I was saying is, like, try to be firm about setting a plan and executing a plan. Because if he doesn't want even to talk about a plan, then it might be something else. You know, it might be more deeper.
I like that. Yep.
Yeah, I feel like you should have a plan in relationships. Like, you know, just for your own self thing. Like, we talk about plans. Like, I want to have a certain amount of money by this time. I want to then think about marriage. I want to then have kids or whatever. Like, there always needs to be a plan in place. You can't just like live through life and be like, oh, okay, I guess we'll get married tomorrow. It's like, no, you got to have money to get married. You got to, have your debt paid down to get married. Like there's steps that
Or
you need to.
hopefully,
Yeah, I don't know.
you know.
Maybe
Yeah,
not.
hopefully.
That's the things that I worry about.
That's what I worry
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
So
One
Who
thing
knows?
we were talking about before we started the podcast is we were talking about how I'm generalizing, but women tend to be better at planning and sticking to plans than men, because men kind of do things that feel good, and they're more about like I was telling him about somebody who was in a job that there wasn't much room for advancement, but he's like, I feel good.
Yeah.
I love my coworkers. This feels comfortable, but you need that sort of ambition
Right.
to push through. So I think women are more of like eyes on the prize, like bigger picture, where guys are more like momentary and more like, right now I'll have a bike and I'll ride away, and like this will make me feel good right now.
yeah.
But you don't really think about the future. So
Right.
just approach that knowing that guys don't really think about the future. It's very rare.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point.
Uh-huh.
One last thing I have to say is men are very stupid.
You know what?
Just the men species. To Pablo's
Yeah.
point is like men and women are just so different, and yeah, I think that's a good point.
Even my
Like,
comeback, I said, you know what? And I was like, I disagree with you, but I'm too stupid to figure out how to
no.
describe it to you.
Dude, we're dumb.
We're dumb. Oh, we're
Whatever
dumb.
you
100%.
do,
100%.
Some guys, a big percentage, I feel, fucking never learn.
Yeah,
Some
yeah,
guys never learn. They're just,
and that could be thing with the bike thing too. It's like, okay, she said that she doesn't like the $600, whatever it may be. Then he goes and pays doubles that in the bike. It's like, you gotta learn the first time that she didn't like that.
and then from his side too, he's not
Yeah.
like
he
taking.
continues to
Yeah,
do it. So I
yeah.
think that you need to have a really honest
Talk.
conversation with him
Yeah.
and just say, this upsets me. This is what I want. This is what I see for our future. What do you think? That's the first step.
Boom.
Boom.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Next. Pregunta.
Pregunta.
Subject line. My boyfriend, 20 male, confessed to me, 30 male, that he is HIV positive. We have been dating for 7 to 8 months.
Oof.
Holy shit. Okay, it says, right now I'm trying to digest the news and what to do moving forward. As the title mentions, we've been dating monogamously for 7 to 8 months now. And last night he dropped the news on me that he is HIV positive for 3 years, but undetectable. I understand his fear of being rejected, but I can't get over the massive betrayal of trust. He's a genuinely good person and caring, and I hate to confirm his fear of rejection, but I can't make it okay in my head that he knew and didn't tell me. Last month I had a physical and it included an HIV screening. My last results were negative, despite that I'm sitting here this morning on the doc's office ready to get retested. Sorry for my lack of knowledge, but that's AIDS, right? Or no?
Yeah.
HIV
Okay.
turns into AIDS.
Yeah.
HIV
Okay.
is it's like your T cells are kind of attacking themselves, and once your T cells are too low, then it becomes AIDS, which
Okay.
is autoimmunity deficiency
Yeah.
syndrome or something.
Something
What
like
does that mean as undetected?
Undetected means there's enough medication out there. I don't know too much, but I know that there's medication out there that is able to keep you from getting it.
I don't know.
I've
I
seen
don't know
commercials
enough.
and stuff like
I
that.
don't
So
know
it's
enough.
like, okay.
I don't
Anyway,
know
that
enough.
sucks.
But I know that if it's undetectable, it means that like it's not showing up. You're still positive, because I think Magic Johnson is undetectable,
Yeah.
right?
So
it's-
can you transfer it?
You can still transfer
You can still
but the
transfer it,
medication-
but it's-
I mean, we don't know the ins and
Okay.
outs.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Sorry.
it doesn't matter. The thing is about
Yeah.
Right.
he didn't tell us.
I feel too uneducated in this to give an answer, but just approaching it from not knowing, I think he's in a tough place, because if I'm putting myself in his shoes and you meet somebody and you feel like you can get along with them, I think you're kind of dampening the experience by being upfront at the beginning. So I understand why he did it, why he waited, but at the same time, you should kind of be upfront. So it is a betrayal of trust, and it is something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I would feel betrayed because he knew. But I can understand the other side too, where it's like that fear of being rejected. I mean, I'm sure that sucks, but it's kind of the reality that you're faced with at that point, and it is your responsibility to tell everybody that you associate or sexually be involved with somebody that you have something, because maybe that had happened to his partner in the past and that's how he contracted it, or whatever, whoever it may be. I just feel like being upfront and honest, even when it's very uncomfortable, is the right thing to do. But I also am uneducated in a lot of this, so I don't really know the correct approach. I would be upset, and I would tell him that I was upset, but I wouldn't guilt him into thinking or making him feel like he was like this huge enemy,
monster,
this monster, right? I think I would just tell him like, hey, I'm really upset about this, and I just needed to let it off my chest. I don't know.
I think
he is isn't there a law or something, if you get HIV or herpes, you have to tell the person?
Yeah.
Because it's against the law to not open up with that? Because that's something that you could die from.
Yeah,
so you're basically...
Yeah.
I hate to be harsh, but you're basically almost killing whoever you might potentially give to. I think it's something like that. So I think it is bad. I don't care about... People without diseases get rejected. So you're going to get rejected, maybe a bigger percentage, but you have to be straight up with that.
Yeah.
I think there's a law. There's a law with any STD thing where you have to tell your fucking people. That just
those not like everything's like, most of them are curable, but those
right. No,
like,
but
those
I'm
are
saying
the ones,
like any time that you are to contract an STD, you have to tell your partners.
You have to tell your people.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
Holding it 7 to 8 months later.
Yeah, that's
7 and 8
fucked.
months is kind of a long time.
That's like, I think for me, I feel like second date.
Yeah.
Like, yo, this is like before we even start liking each other, I want you to know this.
Yeah.
Like, take it or leave it. And I'm sorry, like most
you're
people, right. Rejection will happen. I mean, I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, I truly, truly, truly believe there's someone for everyone. So if that's not the person, the next person might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would advise that for the partner moving forward. Just be upfront with people from the beginning. Unfortunately, in this case, you didn't. But for the other partner, I would say take the 7 months and see what you've learned about that person. You know that if they do withhold information, they'll eventually tell you. So you know that you can kind of build trust again. But if you feel personally that the trust has been broken and shattered completely and it's irreparable, then it's just gonna hurt the relationship. It's just gonna be like looming over. You're gonna be, if you're gonna be able to throw it in their face, or if any little argument will trigger that feeling of like, you lied to me.
Exactly. I think that's like, you said it perfectly earlier, like you dampened the relationship in the beginning, and it's like, how could you possibly have trust with somebody that betrayed you in that way right off the bat? Like that's something that's always going to be in the back of your mind. And I'm not to say that you can't move forward from it if you guys decide to continue this relationship, but that's shitty. You shouldn't ever do that to somebody. And I feel I'm going to stick to what I said before. Like, you have to have the uncomfortable talks early in the relationship, because you can't just go and do that to somebody. Like that's not cool. And I think it is illegal.
Yeah, it might be illegal.
I mean, I'm going to do another, if I'm right or wrong, thing. But oh damn it, I forgot what I was going to say. If you do continue to move forward, forgive. I agree with Pablo. Like, truly forgive him, because I don't like when relationships continue, but you keep throwing that at them. Well, this. No. You've already. This is already in the past. You've decided to move forward. If you decide to move forward, you gotta truly let it go. And move forward. Because I don't think it's fair to whoever it is that you keep throwing something at their face. If it moves forward, obviously.
That's a big, huge thing in any relationship that I'm in. Is like, if you ever do shit and you talk about it and you move on from it, you move on from it. Like, you don't look back.
Yep.
It's the only way to really move forward.
Yep. Boom.
Boom.
Boom. All right, moving on.
Moving on.
Next pregunta.
Okay. This one says, how do I give my boyfriend an ultimatum? I, 24-year-old female, have been dating my 24-year-old male boyfriend for almost 5 years. I love him a lot, but we haven't had sex for a year, and he doesn't really care. I think he needs to change a few things in his personal life because he feels really unmotivated and depressed. But I've wanted to help him for a long time, but he doesn't let me. I thought he would eventually find his way, but he's not even trying. How do I tell him nicely that he needs to get his shit together for our relationship to work?
Wow.
Damn.
Well, first off, I think just that. Just say you need to get your shit together
Exactly.
for our relationship to work. And I think you need to come to peace with the fact that you're trying to figure out what motivates a person is difficult because sometimes not even the person knows what it is. And there's so many different tactics you can take. Like there's people, my sister took a class, she works in HR and she taught me this thing that like has stuck with me. There's like a few types of people. People usually fall into this category. There's the self-motivated person who you just let them go because they're so self-driven that they don't need any feedback from anyone or any sort of acknowledgement or recognition. Then there's the B, who's like the person who's like sure just a little bit there, and so you just encourage them or like guide them the right way. It's just like, oh, this is how, but you not really micromanage. Then there's C, who's like you have to micromanage, and they sort of feel like they're working in a team together. So they're like, that's how you get them to thrive. It's like if I'm here every step of the way, and basically it's a little bit more taxing because you have to be over the person. But I feel like everybody falls into that category of motivation. If this person is depressed and sad, I think that is like an issue that he has to address first with his depression, figure out why. It usually boils down to like self-acceptance, self-love. I struggle with stuff like that. But I think there's nothing a partner can do to make you feel that way. There's temporary fixes, but in this bigger like, picture or whatever, in the grand scheme of things, that has to come from within. So if you don't see that and you love this person, but you can't imagine yourself like having to pick this person up constantly and it's not worth it for you, then you find somebody else.
Yeah, I think I agree with you because I think that like, first of all, I think sex in a relationship is very important. And if you're not intimate or like sharing intimate moments with your partner, then it does make them second guess themselves. And while yes, he may be depressed or whatever, then that's like a decision that you need to make for yourself. If like you want to continue this with him and work him through his, try to be there for him, but also know that it's nothing personal. It's a really big balance between the two. But I think maybe coming to him and saying like, hey, this is important to me and this is what I need, and I'm not feeling like sexually, what's the word I'm looking for?
Attracted.
Attracted. I don't feel like we have like sexual attraction to each other and it's a problem within my relationship. I think if he loves you and wants to work on it, then he's going to listen to that and be like, oh, okay, maybe this is something that we need to work on like together. I don't think that you should be like spoon feeding him into like making him feel guilty about it and like trying every day to like pry him to like self-motivate him, because it's only going to come from within. You know?
Yeah.
And just like how Pablo said, you never know how to motivate. Just because you say like, hey, you should go get motivated, or like how you say like trying to give him an ultimatum, like sometimes like, okay, maybe that digs him deeper in the hole.
Right.
You never know how someone might take it.
I don't really think that an ultimatum is the solution here. I think it's just actually speaking to him
More
and telling him.
Conversation,
again.
yeah.
Right.
It is a
Have
communication thing.
with him.
Right.
Speak your mind. Have him talk. listen, and I don't know, maybe hopefully listening gives you clues onto like how you can, if you truly want to. I mean, she's been with him for 5 years, so she loves him. She wants to be there. Right. So you're gonna like, you're gonna figure it out too if you want him to like, push through this.
I think definitely setting up a very safe environment where nothing leads to an argument or nothing leads to sort of one person just has to be completely neutral and let things that you would usually trigger you not trigger you, just really hear them out. Because I feel like I blew over the sex part because I think that that's a side effect of something deeper.
Right.
I think sex is an issue, but if you do start to have sex, there's still going to be that issue there.
Yeah.
True.
So it's something deeper.
Yeah. I think a lot of the questions that we get really just boil down to like people communicating. Like I feel like communication is a skill that you either learn or you just really fuck up your entire life. And if people can't communicate with one another, especially in relationships, then there's really no future, like a happy future at least.
And it's truly an ongoing process.
Oh yeah.
Like even I already, most people know I'm already a quiet person. Like sometimes she has to suck out like all my thoughts. She's like, "What's wrong?"
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
That was good. But sometimes she already knows how I am normally. So she's like, "Something's up. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking?"
Sometimes he'll just have a look on his face where I'm like, "What's wrong with you today?"
And she knows.
Yeah.
So sometimes it happens, but like communication helps so much, and then after you do talk, like everything feels so much better.
So much better.
Yep.
Feels like you took a breath of air.
Right, on both ends.
On
it's
both
like,
ends.
and you know what? And what's crazy is that like this girl's writing into the internet, but he's probably thinking the same thing. Like he's probably like, "Oh shit, like our relationship isn't where it's supposed to be." I think it's just talking to him.
Yeah.
I don't think an ultimatum is the thing. I think that's kind of like a rude way of approaching it. I think it's just telling him, "Hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Like, are you cool? Because I'm here for you, but I also don't want to like devaluate myself or like I'm not happy in a relationship because I'm trying to overcompensate for you." Like, I think it's just a balance.
And bring up the sex.
Yeah.
Like, you can still be in a hole and depressed and sad. I'm sorry. We've all been through it, but like, you gotta also care about your woman.
Right.
It's tough. Like, I mean, I get it. Money, stress, depression, and everything sucks when it comes, and like your brain is somewhere else. But every now and then, you gotta get out of that and let her know that you still want her, you still love her, you still you still have feelings for her. She like all that adds to like the
definitely
intimacy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
I have a question for you, George.
Yes.
When because you spoke on this, have you ever experienced a time where you were so sad that like you couldn't really perform, like you were too in your head? You had weepy, because I want to find a word for it, because you know how there's whiskey dick if you drink too much. What about weepy dick?
I think that's a thing.
Something
Even
like
for
that,
women, that's a thing. Like you can't like have a proper orgasm if you're like so in your head about shit. I think that's like a normal thing.
Yeah. So I mean, it happens, and I'm sorry that it is a deeper thing. Like the sex thing has nothing to do with you. Probably it's probably more just like he doesn't feel. He's not there, and in his brain, he's not letting himself perform because he's like, not feeling himself.
Try to really identify the things that he's passionate about and like support those things, because I think that's a way to get somebody out of a depression. If you see that they like something and that they're starting to do it more, then like you just kind of have to be like, hey, I recognize it. Like notice a little details like, hey, you're not doing this anymore, or like you're doing this every day. That's kind of cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
she's
actually
attention to
she's
detail.
actually awesome about that.
I do that with everybody, though.
Every time I do something, even if it's like just a normal video, she's like, "Oh, I saw that. Good shit."
Yeah, the attention to detail really helps.
She's always like thanking me for editing. Like it's constant.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's like a good human quality, though, is to like look at things within your friends, your partner, whatever, and congratulate them or whatever. Not thinking of the word right now, but like notice the little things in
Acknowledge.
people's
Yeah,
lives.
recognition.
Acknowledge
Yeah,
them.
yeah, acknowledgement. Yeah.
Really taking the little things in somebody's life, like you do it too, where like you'll be like, oh, I really like the way your hair looks today, or like just like really small things. But like I think back to the passion thing, like supporting somebody's dream is probably the best thing you can do for somebody. Like supporting, and even when times get fucking rough, like really rough, sitting there and still saying like, hey, I believe in you, and hey, you can do this, is going to motivate your partner 100%.
Oh, yeah.
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 Boom.
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 Cool. That was it, guys. Well done.
Oh, nice. This felt good. It felt like I was kind of a therapist. Like I was
Does
just
it
kind
feel
of
good?
chilling.
Dude,
Be like,
I love it.
It's so nice to see things in third person because I feel like in my personal life, I have a hard time removing myself from it because
Yeah.
I feel like I'm so attached to my emotions and I like hold on to them.
Yeah.
That it's nice to step out and be like, if I had written into this show,
Right.
Yeah.
what would I, or like, would I fight what they said or would I kind of be more open or like outside perspective?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I really like it. I feel like even topics that get brought up or like relate to things in my life where I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm giving this advice as to how I would handle this. Maybe I need to
should
take a
this
little bit of my
Yeah.
own advice. You
Yeah.
know?
Every time we talk about communication, I always,
Yeah.
to me too, because I'm such
Yeah.
a quiet person.
Yeah.
Like, communicate,
You're getting
dude,
better,
communicate. Yeah, I am getting
Yeah.
a little bit better and better every day because of her. But yeah, it's still a team.
Nice. Very nice.
All right. Thank you so much
Thank
for coming.
you,
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for
Yes.
answering, giving us your wisdom.
Yes.
That was it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys turn on those notifications. That's the way you guys do know every time we do post, typically on Sundays. Our email has been displayed throughout the whole video. And for those of you guys that are listening, it's askthetwoofus@gmail.com.
Well, there's people listening.
Yeah, we have like, I think our total number is like 98 listeners.
Wow. Hey, we love every single one of
I
you.
was going to ask about that
Yeah, it's
actually
like
the other day.
98, something
Thanks,
Nice.
98
Yeah.
listeners.
Nice.
We really appreciate it.
Did I miss anything? I don't think so, right?
No.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you. Bye.
I love, you know, personally, I love.
Wait.
I have to say it. Aw. And remember, nice guys always finish first.
Yeah.
That's my tagline that it makes
I
me
love
say every
it.
time.
I love it.
It is, but it's true. I really do honestly believe that.